Ever spent hours fitting a tenon, only to watch it wobble loose in the joint? That tiny gap between good enough and perfect is exactly where the right tool earns its keep. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down the best shoulder planes for woodworking, the unsung heroes that turn sloppy joinery into crisp, gap-free fits you'll be proud to show off. I've tested the top contenders, so you don't waste $1 on the wrong one. I'll drop links to every plane in the description below. Stick around to the end for my top pick. Let's get into it. Number 5 is the Woodstock D375D Bullnose Plane. Ever tried trimming a tight rabbet or sneaking into the corner of a mortise and tenon joint, only to realize your everyday plane just can't reach? That's exactly the gap this little tool was built to fill. It's shaped to sit snugly in your palm, and that contoured grip hands you surprising control for something so compact. The low-angle design slices through straight grain and stubborn end grain without tearing things up. Here's the clever bit. The plane iron sits flush with the side of the body, so you can trim right up against an edge and nail clean, precise joinery every time. Need a chisel plane instead? Pop it apart, and you've got one in seconds. The adjustable throat lets you dial in your cut. The sole runs a compact 1 by 4 inches, and the whole tool is cast iron with a nickel-plated finish that feels solid at just over a pound. Now, honest talk straight from owners. Sharpen it properly and it performs beautifully, earning praise for value and sturdy build. That said, the blade splits opinion. Some get it razor sharp, others want more bite, and a few mention flattening the sole before real work. Every cabinet maker should have one tucked in the drawer. Number 4 is the Benchdog 92 Shoulder Plane. Picture the moment a tenon is almost right, just a whisker too fat to seat cleanly. That's where this tool earns its keep. It's a shoulder plane and a chisel plane rolled into one, made for refining tenons, cleaning inside corners, dressing rabbets, and tidying up the fine joinery that a big bench plane simply can't touch. Pull off the front section, and it converts into a true chisel plane, letting you work flush right into a corner or squeeze into tight spots where precision matters most. The detail that really sells it is the 3/4-inch blade, set a hair wider than the body on purpose. That tiny overhang means perfectly square shoulders with no ridge or step left behind. Both the sole and the back of the blade come precision ground and polished flat, so it glides smooth and cuts true straight out of the case. No fettling marathon first. Comfort wasn't an afterthought either. The finger recesses along the sides give you a secure, fatigue-free grip during those long, fiddly sessions at the bench. Built from cast iron, hardened carbon steel, and brass, it's made to last, and every unit ships with a certificate of inspection documenting sole flatness and blade hardness. Going by what owners report, the consensus leans strongly positive. People trust its accuracy and that reassuring, inspected before it ships quality. A genuinely dependable pick. Number 3 is the Woodriver Medium Shoulder Plane. Let's talk pedigree for a second because it matters here. This one comes from Woodcraft, America's go-to supplier for serious woodworking hand tool. And you can feel that heritage the moment you pick it up. It carries that classic look and traditional feel that woodworkers gravitate toward. The kind of tool that looks as good on the bench as it performs in your hands. So what's it actually for? Tweaking tenons, fine-tuning rabbets, and cleaning up dados. The precision work where close enough simply won't cut it. The sides are machined dead square to the sole, which is the unsung detail that lets you trim a shoulder without rocking off your line. And there's an adjustable mouth, so you can tighten things down to minimize tear out on tricky grain, or open it up when you're hogging off more material. Build-wise, this is where it flexes. The body is KR40 stress-relieved ductile steel paired with M65 tool steel, giving it real heft at 2.4 pounds, substantial enough to stay planted through a cut without feeling clumsy. At nearly 9 inches long, it bridges that sweet spot between control and reach. Based on what longtime owners are saying, this ranks among the best hand tools they own. Sturdy in the grip, beautifully made, and it just plain works. Hard to argue with that. Number 2 is the Benchdog 3-in-1 Shoulder Plane. 3 tools, 1 body. That's the whole pitch, and it's a strong one. Where the number 92 earlier gave you 2 configurations, this version stretches further. Swap in the long nose piece and it's a shoulder plane. Drop in the short one and it becomes a bull nose plane for sneaking closer to a stopped edge. Pull the nose off entirely and you've got a chisel plane that trims flush right into the corner. 1 tool covering work that'd usually mean reaching for 3. The 1-inch blade follows that familiar Benchdog logic, sitting a touch wider than the body, so your corners come out clean and ridge-free. Depth of cut is micro-adjustable through a precision brass knob, and the included shims let you fine-tune the mouth opening for whatever the grain throws at you. Both the iron castings and the blade are ground flat, with the sides machined perfectly square to the sole. Now the specs that show the engineering. Cast iron body, hardened carbon steel blade, hardened to 55 to 60 HRC, brass lever cap contoured for your palm, and sole flatness held to a tight 0.002 to 0.004 inch tolerance. It weighs 2.2 pounds and ships in a storage case with its own certificate of inspection. Folks who've put it through real bench time appreciate that versatility and the precise, comfortable adjustments. A lot of capability for one compact tool. Number 1 is the Woodstock D3752 shoulder plane. Earning the top spot here comes down to one word: value. This is the tool that does the most for the least, and that's exactly why it lands at number 1 for budget-minded woodworkers. At its heart, it's a low-angle shoulder plane built for fine-tuning mortise and tenon joints. That final, satisfying pass where a joint goes from snug to flawless. But like the bench dog models we covered, it doesn't stop at one job. A simple modification turns it into a chisel plane or a bullnose plane, so you're getting 3 configurations from a single black metal body. The full-width plane iron pops out easily when it's time to sharpen, and resetting it is painless thanks to the knurled adjustment screw. No fiddly guesswork. The sole runs 1 3/32 inches wide across a full 6-inch length, giving you enough bearing surface to stay steady through a cut, all in a tool that tips the scale at 2.36 pounds. Here's where I'll be straight with you though. Owner feedback is genuinely split. Plenty call it excellent value that simply works, while others ran into real trouble. Blades that won't hold an edge, bodies arriving out of square, and a few units that loosened up during use. So inspect yours on arrival. But if it's a solid one, you'd be hard-pressed to find more capability at this price. That's my roundup. Links are in the description below. Smash that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you next time.